Greetings, beautiful souls. This is Bevan Neiman Cortez. I am the host of the upcoming community, Personal Power, Collective Power. We will begin on Saturday, July 19th. We've actually shifted our date forward to give more spaciousness and more time. And if you stay to the end of this reading, you'll hear a little bit more about that. These readings are going to only be available inside the community. So if that's something you're interested in, I'll tell you how to check it out in just a few minutes. But I wanted to get on today and really celebrate sort of two big astrological events. The first of which is the solstice. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you'll be experiencing the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, the longest amount of daylight in your world that we will have during the entire 365-year cycle. Or excuse me, 365 day cycle. If you're in the southern hemisphere, you'll be experiencing the winter solstice, which is the shortest time period, the shortest light, the most dark. And so we are actually coming soon into leaving Gemini, right? The twins, the mental energy. I don't know about you. I'm going to light a little bit of incense here because the mental energy in the collective within myself, my clients, it's been pretty intense lately. And I think we just need to sort of clear this area, clear this space. Taking a deep breath. And clearing the cards I've already pre-shuffled and pre-drawn these cards, the ones that really wanted to come forward. And there's a lot of not only earthly energy, but astrological energy that's just rolling around in the collective right now. And I wanted to begin with the capstone card, the card that sort of embodies this period of time that stretches between the summer solstice and, say, the new moon in Cancer, when we make that shift into a new sign, a new astrological cycle. And we're going from a very cerebral energy to a very deeply rooted, heart-based, even sacral chakra-based energy, just diving into Cancer. Cancer is the fourth house, the house in the astrological chart that rules our family life, our home environment, our sanctuary. It could be your physical home environment. It could be how much you feel at home, for example, in your body, or how much you feel home with yourself and secure with yourself. And there's a lot of different, kind of collective cycles and themes coming up around this, around really feeling at home. Where do I belong? Who are my people? Who is really my family? Is it soul family? Is it biological family? Is it chosen people who feel like family? We're going to go through a lot of these different things. And I've seen a lot of people moving at this time. Every time I'm watching readers on YouTube, for example, or I'm doing my own card spreads, I see a lot about movement, whether it is moving from one home to another, one state or province to another, or even, one country to another. People are on the move right now. When there is a dive into Cancer, we really want to get clear emotionally about how well something is or is not working for us, whether that's a workplace, a home environment, a relationship, a career field, whatever that may be for you. So let's kind of dive in here, the capstone energy, and I invite you just to connect in when I show you this card with your own counsel, whatever that means for you. So here's our first card. And it is a master number 11, which can give us some clues to perhaps a change in our identity. So there's a lot of that going on. Who am I and what do I believe in? And what kind of tribes and groups do I belong to? And is there a kind of dogma I believe in, or do I want to reject that? So the council is really interesting because I had a former one-to-one client. When I was making a recommendation during our coaching call, she said, well, I'm going to need to check in with the council. And I was like, oh, who's that? And she said, all those different voices and personalities inside. And I was like, yes, I do know. I know my inner critic, and I know my inner joy and my inner child, and my inner grouch. We're going to talk about Cancer season being symbolized by the crab, right? So like a crabby person, when we're getting down into the water element and we're getting into that emotionality, realizing maybe like, am I waking up every day kind of grumpy, grouchy, not well rested? Boy, I've been there so many times. What are those voices, those cerebral voices that we're taking from Gemini season? And how are we then allowing our thoughts to fuel our emotions, right? And sometimes our emotions fuel our thoughts. So they have this circular relationship. But when you think about the different members of your council, and it also could be your friend group, people that you know that you can go to and say, wow, I'm really having this dilemma. What do you think? I really value your opinion. Maybe you're talking to people of that nature. Maybe these are ancestor spirits, ones that or even some that are so ancient down the line that you don't know their name, but maybe you can see their visage, or maybe you can feel their energy. Some people connect with angelic spirits. So that may be your counsel. It is you and some other entity, group of people, organization that you are taking counsel from. And I hope, my friends, that I always impart this message with anything that I put into the world. And that is, I hope you are taking counsel from yourself, right? I hope that you are integrating those various parts of you so that you can come into an aligned sense of knowing of who you are, of what you believe in, of where you're going and what your sacred purpose or purposes, sometimes we have more than one, might be on this planet at this time, how you can contribute, and what it is that you need to be supported and nurtured. Because Cancer is the divine feminine. It is the magnetic energy. It is the nourishing energy. It is Mother Gaia, right? In the Northern Hemisphere, we're entering into summer when things just burst forth with life. And this is the kind of counsel that you need. A small group of aligned souls that you can bounce ideas off of, that you can have moments of illumination with, that when one person asks a question, you also want to know that answer. And the answer isn't given by me as a facilitator or necessarily by other members of the group. They're just ideas, sparks of inspiration, because fundamentally, each of us chooses our own path. And Cancer can also talk a little bit about that responsibility energy, right? Nobody likes that R word, right? Like there's many R words we don't like. Responsibility is one of them. And, but this is why we're here. We're here to walk this path and gradually grow in maturity, in earthly maturity, understanding how to follow up, be consistent, keep our word, communicate when we can't, be a trustworthy person, be a person that people can count on, take care of things like take care of our bills and save money and do all the things that we're supposed to do here in an earthly body with an earthly mind, a personality, and also the spiritual maturity where we understand that we are 100% responsible for our own choices. And Gemini season has been about that, right? Like maybe you've been drifting back and forth between this thing and that thing, this thing and that thing. And our second card to come up is the Two of Wands. You know, here she is. She has the moon energy over here in the staff and the sun energy over here. She's actually grasping the sun energy. So the moon energy is often something that is sort of hidden from us. We can't really see it. We don't know. There's no clarity. It's dark, right? But she's moving now towards the illumination. She's been able to get some insight. And yet she's still kind of standing there, kind of constrained. The wand's energy wants to move forward. But you can see she has this huge, big, heavy dress on. It's kind of traditional. She's still sort of corseted in, right, by life. And then in this hand here is a small earth with a pair of wings. So she has a vision, and the earth is 75% water as we enter into this water sign. She has a vision of what she would like to release into the world, what she would like to birth and let fly. And she has her hand on the sun, like, okay, I think that can make this happen. But there's still some things to let go of. We have an octopus spirit here. Love octopuses. They're just amazing animals, very, very intelligent. But in this case, I kind of get the feeling like it sort of has its tentacles like wrapped around you, right? Whatever this is, whatever this conformity is. It's almost like she's striving to be a good girl. Like I'm well dressed, I'm proper, but really I want to fly. Really I want to like float or sail or climb. I really want to like let my knickers down and or whatever the euphemism is, and just pull this off and like run and play and experience and not worry about having to be so proper. So maybe that is something that's coming up for you. Maybe internally you're receiving information or you're seeing external synchronicities that like there's still some part of your life where you're kind of rigid and you're kind of corseted in and you're kind of tentacled up, right? And you really want to let go. You can see her hand sort of coming out of this really formal, like overflowing sleeve, right? Just like pulling it out. Like, I want to be free. I want to be free. And then we have the Isis deck, which is really great for those moments when we're willing to look at the shadow, when we're willing to go there very deep. The Isis deck energy is just amazing. And this one we have the Temple of Carnelian entering the fierce belly of Sekhmet. Okay. So Sekhmet was sort of a cat man creature, right? Very fierce like the cat energy. And the carnelian is a red stone. It is a symbol of fire, right? So igniting. So we have her here. She has like just a little spark, the Two of Wands, right? It's like getting that spark, getting that passion, knowing what she wants, still a little constrained. And then here we are breaking the fuck out. Like, hair flying in the wind, open-hearted, right? Not locked in, allowing ourselves maybe a fierce growl, you know, like just allowing ourselves to be feral, to be wild. I don't mean bad. I don't mean like a bad girl. I don't mean like a rebel. I like being a rebel though. But I mean like letting loose, like opening yourself up, like it's time to open up, time to take off whatever is constrictive. And this full moon energy Okay, when the sun is brightest for some of us, and when it is the least bright for others, you're going to figure out what it is that needs to be burned away, right? Maybe it's toning down your voice. Maybe it is a relationship where you've just lost yourself and you allowed that other person to allow you allowed that other person to kind of dictate how you show up. Maybe it is a career field that is done because it's sort of mainstream and you want to do something that's really not. There's different interpretations. I'm just throwing out some ideas here, my friends. You can interpret this how you will, but we go from that 2 of Wands energy to like full on 10 of Wands, right? And the 10 of Wands is often identified as like carrying a big burden and having that responsibility. But in this case, she's not afraid of that responsibility. She knows who she is. She's a leader. She's a leader. She's unapologetic about that, right? And then we move here to the Knight of Swords, okay? The Knight of Swords. So this is really me saying like we're galloping out of Gemini season. We've got that sword and we only have one sword. It's like we've sort of conquered this indecision, right? We went from the 2, which one do I do? How do I loosen up and let myself go a little bit? And here we're getting on that horse and we're riding, baby. We're like, charge and galloping across the wilderness towards our destination. Okay? Because the Isis card that comes up is the flower of life. This is the underlying geometry to everything that exists, not only on our planet, but in the cosmos. And we can tap into that. We can integrate ourselves into that pattern. The flower of life always starts with a small bud in the middle, and then it slowly opens, slowly opens, slowly opens until we are fully, fully expressed, right? So this is like one step, like I'm doing it. I'm loosening up. I'm taking off on my horse. I'm bringing the message to the masses. I'm cutting through something that I don't want to be there anymore. And now we are in this manifestation energy, and it says divine creativity and manifestation. Excuse me, we've had a lot of pollen from the trees on our property, so I get a little choked up sometimes. And sometimes we get that way when we talk about manifestation, right? So manifestation, geez, has been talked about by every spiritual teacher under the sun in all different ways with all different kinds of promises. In my experience, there's 2 things to manifestation and tapping into your divine creativity, which is really at that sacral chakra, your womb energy, right? And also your lower back where you receive creative impulses. And so it's not just what we put out from the front of our chakras, but also what we're receiving from the back. And her back is actually turned to us. So I feel that you need to let go even more. So here she is in a formal gown. Here they are in, just kind of a riding suit, right? Like letting go. And here she is fully letting go. Like I'm here, I'm naked to the world, but not showing everything, not showing all of my cards, right? What I'm manifesting is support. What I'm manifesting is receiving. And we have the falcon here, a bird, not only a bird of prey, but also a messenger bird, right? So we have various messages. This is a messenger card, the Knight of Swords. It's a messenger. It's a quick, short message. It's an email, it's a text, it's an offer for a job. It's something that's coming in quickly that you have been manifesting because you've been letting go of those constraints and allowing yourself to receive support and to be more vulnerable in the world. And you're finding out that it's actually safe to do so because you still have your boundaries. Here's the falcon, right? Falcon, the falcon is a no nonsense kind of bird. If you mess with it, if you cross its boundaries, it's like, no. And so you still have that. You're still safe, even though you're being more vulnerable in this point. And that vulnerability gets us to this card, the lovers. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean an actual romantic lover, although it could be if that's who you have been calling in and what you have been working on yourself for to be more vulnerable, to take down kind of the shield, the wall. I did a lot of that work, believe me, after I got divorced. It can be a partnership of some kind, a friend that you know you're riding together. Like here's one person riding by themselves. It's cool. But here are two people riding together in tandem, right? And this could be someone that you've known in the past because this person's horse is actually looking back, or whatever that creature is. It's a really fantastical creature, is looking back. But you notice this person is not looking. So both the horse and this person are looking at this person, but she's looking away, right? So maybe someone you want to connect with and maybe someone you don't want to connect with. Again, there's a messenger. This is a little bird holding kind of a postcard or a letter. So there's some kind of maybe physical letter or physical package that will come into your life, or a gift that someone is bringing. Because this looks more official, looks more formal. So this could be just a quick text, but this actually looks like sort of a certified letter or something of that nature. And it's going to bring in greater happiness. Everyone is smiling, cavorting through what looks like kind of a field of heart-shaped flowers. This is, feeling unconditional love, whether this is a romantic partner, whether this is a business partner, whether this is a friend or a family member, where you know that you're riding in parallel. So sometimes we ride for a while with people, and then we come to a crossroads and one person kind of goes this way and another person goes this way. But right now, in this circumstance, there is an aligned direction. You're riding together. And the last card that we have in this series for this reading is the Queen of Heaven. So we've had a lot of divine feminine energy here, really empowering ourselves, taking down those constraints. This is what it means to be a woman. Here's what it means to be female or a girl. And here's how you have to dress, and here's how you have to look, and how you have to act, and here's the cultural responsibilities you have, and here's the household tasks you have to do because you have a uterus, and so on and so forth. And this is the Queen of Heaven. The Queen of Heaven says, there's a blessing coming to you from the divine Empress of the skies. So the Empress is embodying that magnetic energy. The Empress is tapping in intuitively, emotionally. You can see here, her sacral chakra is open. Okay, so we went from being stuffed into a corset to breaking free just a little bit, to being vulnerable and allowing ourselves to receive, to saying, here the hell I am in my power, in my emotions, in my intuition. Look at how much energy is generated here from her third eye and her crown chakra. It's incredible, right? It's absolutely incredible. And there is a little hint of kind of a peacock vibe to it, really showing yourself, really standing in your power, assuming that divine feminine energy, unapologetically, and then bringing in aligned partnerships in some aspect of your life. It could be you and a landlord, it could be you and a new date, it could be you and a new boss. Bringing in someone who's really going to respect you, understand you, care for you, ride side by side, ride and die kind of energy. And this is the direction that the time period between the solstice and the new moon transiting into Cancer is going to be very, very important. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that Saturn, the planet of boundaries, restrictions, just entered Aries. So this is like a perfect card for that, right? We talked about being kind of like tentacled in, corseted in, while also having the Wands energy and wanting to move forward. And so it's going to require a commitment on our parts to allow ourselves to be more and more vulnerable, to be seen more and more for who we really are, and to see ourselves that way, and to see ourselves that way. So this is an example of the type of moon readings that you would receive if you choose to join the Personal Power, Collective Power community. I deliver to your email inbox a group private reading for both new moons and full moons. And this is going to allow you to see, okay, what is it I need to recharge, re-energize, or get initiated when the new moon cycle comes in. And this new moon in Cancer is going to really bring in, where is it that I've held specific kinds of feelings or belief systems, perhaps, that have actually been constraining me instead of giving me freedom and power and release and authenticity and confidence. And so we're going to get to dive into some of those emotions, my friends. And it looks like overall it's going to be a very positive experience for you in this next moon cycle. And then when we do the full moon readings, it's really about what is the accumulation, what is the crescendo of the energy of the work that you're doing, of the relationship you're in, of the workplace that you're involved in. What is coming up to a peak, and there's something that needs to be completed there. Something that needs to be celebrated there, perhaps. So each month you will receive 2 of these readings, and then you will be able to join our community on a live call. And this call is 100% for you. Each month we'll have a different theme around personal power and collective power, including things like your presence, your energy, your body language, how you're choosing to dress yourself and what you're wearing on your body, and how that first impression really resonates with people and actually describes who you are through your creative expression. Things like networking and how do you build those close relationships. Sometimes, especially as introverts, can get really nervous about networking. But really what it is looking around the room and finding other people that you know are cool and interesting, quirky, sensitive, empathic, whatever, and really developing and taking a deep dive with those folks and finding commonalities with other human beings. It's not as hard as we think. How to use your voice, really how to project, and how to not only sound confident, because we don't want to be like fake it till you make it. You really want to be confident. You really believe in what's flowing through you. You believe in your wisdom. This is why, my friends, I'm putting this together, because right now in human history, we are at a crossroads, and it's so vital that we gather in safe, sacred spaces to uplift each other. Each person in the community working on a different kind of either personal or collective initiative during our time together and birthing that into the world or expanding that into the world. And we are there to help support that process, whether you're writing and launching a book, whether you are starting a retreat center, whether you are interested in getting involved in politics in some way, maybe running for office or being a pundit on TV or YouTube. Whatever your dream is, we're here to help you get to this, right? To the Queen of Heaven. This is where we're going. We're going to release this energy. I need to be worried about how other people think about me. I need to be concerned about how other people perceive me. I need to be responsive to everything that's going on in the world, as opposed to I am standing in my own damn power right here, looking you in the eye, building relationships, speaking my truth, being assertive, feeling really comfortable with communicating boundaries as needed, sharing with people what you love, what you're great at, tapping into that zone of genius. These are the things we're really going to be working on over these next 9 months. And if this really lights you up, if you love this kind of content, if you are a spiritual seeker and you've been on this path for a little while and you're just ready to step into that next level, I invite you to download the PDF. There's a link included with this video, and you can browse at your leisure and take a close look at what it is that we're developing and co-creating together. And then schedule just a short chat. No pressure. We're just going to get to know each other. I love to meet different spiritual people from across the world. I've had the honor to really mentor and work with thousands and thousands of people in my life. And so it's just a time for us to talk about what's important to you and to explore whether this program is really going to help rise up and support you during these next 9 months. You don't have to go it alone, my friends. I'd love to see you in the community. Happy solstice, happy new moon in Cancer. Trust me, if those overwhelming emotions come, they're going to flow in and they're going to flow out. Just sit with them, feel them, cry, express whatever you need to do in a positive way without hurting others. And then, we get in touch with that divine, creative, divine, feminine, magnetic, intuitive, flowing with the moon cycles type of energy, where we get to be more free. And who doesn't want to be more free, right? All right. Thank you, my friends. Love you much. Be well, be you, be confident, use your voice, stand for your boundaries, be that Queen of Heaven, embody that, you are that, you can be that. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.